Well, hello there and welcome to another edition of Temporary Australians. I'm Jonesy.
I'm Hirsty.
What an action-packed show again. I understand you're back over to the States again, Mr. Jet Setter.
Mate, we ran into heavy-duty tours over there and a whole bunch of Aussies riding through the Black Hills.
Also, this is coming up on the show today.
We check out a lawyer who rides in the streets of Melbourne. We meet up with a biker comedian by the name of Maggot. We talk about Christian biker unity in America. We go for a ride from Yellowstone to Cody, the city founded by Buffalo Bill, and then we take a ride through the famous Bighorn Mountains. Riding out of Yellowstone through the east entrance into Wyoming is awe-inspiring. Mountains, canyons and a giant man-made lake take you to the famous western town of Cody. Claudia, we're in Cody, named after Buffalo Bill Cody. It really does seem like a typical western set with all the mountains and the dry bush. What do the residents feel living here in this piece of history?
We are very proud of the heritage of Cody and the history behind Buffalo Bill founding this town and all of the western activities that we have here that we continue to have, and we enjoy sharing it with the world.
I notice you have preserved the original township too.
Absolutely. When the founding fathers started the Cody City, when they built that area up and had the main street and developed it for businesses, they realized it was too far from the railroad tracks and the river, and so they moved it.
The Cody is very modern too. You have a modern rodeo.
We do. Rodeo is the competition of cowboys. It started as competitions between working ranches and their employees, their ranch hands. We've been doing rodeo in Cody for over 60 years. We're special in that we have a rodeo every night, all summer long, June 1st through August 31st, and we're very proud of that.
On our tours, we used to stay in Cody for one night and go to the rodeo, and Buffalo Bill's Alma Hotel there. For us Aussies, people like Buffalo Bill and all that are just like movie things, to actually be in the hotel that he built, and he's walked here and he's sat there, and it's just sort of semi-spooky but awesome, I find. You know, I get tingles on the back of my neck at times.
To me, it was like watching the movies, the country, the old cowboy Indian movies. Nothing had changed, apart from putting it in colour. It's just amazing country, isn't it?
And we were in the movie.
We notice there's a lot of motorcycles in the car park here. Obviously, bikers enjoy this too.
We do. Cody is a great place to hub and spoke. There are a variety of rides that you can take out of Cody and come back into Cody in the evening, enjoy our wonderful restaurants, our pubs, and some of the culture of the area. And then the next day go out on a completely different ride.
What's a highlight of this region for you?
The highlight, of course, is Yellowstone National Park. We're the east entrance to Yellowstone. Buffalo Bill started this entrance, saw that there was a need to have an east entrance, and built the road and the business and founded the town.
Now tell us about the museum for Buffalo Bill. What does that entail?
The Buffalo Bill Museum first started as by the Buffalo Bill Memorial Association in 1917, and the community felt they needed to have a way to recognize the heritage of Buffalo Bill, and so they started that Buffalo Bill Memorial Association.
Now, it seems to me that from the way people describe him, he would have made a great biker if he was born in this time.
He rode a lot of leather, that's for sure.
Welcome to Sturgis, South Dakota, a sleepy cow town of 6,000 people for 51 weeks of the year, and then the Harleys flood in, the other motorcycles flood in, and it can be up to 1 million people in the area enjoying the famous Sturgis Bike Week. Heavy Duty magazine has been running tours to Sturgis since 1997. Gay Zazarin organises these tours. Gay's been riding over here for many years, and with her husband Paul, they work out the routes, they work out the stops, and they do a sensational job taking in some of the best of the country. So let's cross over to them and hear what they have to say.
Our tours are fully escorted, so the only thing a client has to do or a member has to do is pay for their dinners and lunches and their tips. Everything else is included. We do absolutely everything else for them.
Paul, where does the ride start?
We basically start in LA or Vegas, then we pick up another group along the way. We take them all to Sturgis, and then we come back a different way, drop the shorter period group off, and then continue on back to either Vegas or LA.
So what does your tour do? What does it encapsulate?
Sturgis is 1 week of 4 weeks, and so we give people a really good taste of what riding is like in America. We get them bikes from Eagle Rider in Los Angeles, where we stay. We take them on a shakedown run up the Pacific Coast Highway, get them used to the different side of the road and the different rules. But people cotton on very easily, especially when we've got a leader and we're only going at a comfortable pace. We do that on the Saturday, and then on the Sunday we ride out to Vegas. And the day to ride to Vegas is the Sunday, because all the losers are coming home, and the other side of the road is gridlock miles, just stationary, 105, 110 degrees Fahrenheit, and they're all sitting there cooking, and we just cruise out, because hardly anybody goes out to Vegas on a Sunday morning.
So where did you go from Las Vegas?
Las Vegas, we went through Zion out to Bryce Canyon. From there we come up through Escalante and through the Grand Staircase, and that's one of the prettiest rides.
Beautiful pine forest along the side, and we end up in Salt Lake City that night. That's where some other people with our group come in. Some do the whole tour, some come in at Salt Lake and do the rest of the tour. And then we go on from there to Jackson Hole, Wyoming.
We have a couple of nights in Jackson, and then we do the east side of Yellowstone.
Usually go and see Old Faithful. Whoopee!
We didn't see any bison in Hayden Valley, but once we got to Lamar Valley, there must have been a herd of 2,000 bison. It was magic. And then we went up Beartooth, stayed the night there, then we came down Beartooth and across Chief Joseph into Cody, and then from Cody right across through the Bighorn Mountains, through Buffalo and into Sturgis. And it's just an absolutely magnificent ride.
Where do you put everybody up? With hundreds of thousands of people around, it must be hard to get accommodation.
Yes, Neil Brumbury, our editor, and I lucked on this place some years ago, and it's sort of half reserved for us. Roy always keeps rooms here for us. It's an old nursing home that's been converted for Sturgis Week. And Gay and Paul, our tour leaders, they have 2 houses just down the street with nice rooms, so we can take, I think, around 50 people.
What's your highlight of Sturgis?
Look, it's hard to beat sitting on Main Street, watching the people enjoy themselves, having a look at all the different bikes. It's an eye-opener.
Going out to the drags and the flat track racing and the hill climbs, I mean, that's something that we don't even get to see at home much anymore.
What's the highlight of the tour for you?
On the right day, it's the magnificent scenery of a particular part of the road, and it's the joy in the faces of the people that have never been over here. And when they're talking about it, they're lit up, talking about what a fantastic day they've had.
I've always been a country and western fan and like the cowboy movies, and just coming out here to the Midwest and all the West, and it's just unbelievable.
What do you think of these tours?
Oh, I think they're fascinating, eh? For guys like me who, I'd be lost without Paul leading us.
It's just been fantastic. We come here, it's all organised. We just went down the shop and bought some food, and here we are mixing with all the guys. It's fantastic.
Well, that's the easiest way to do it if you're new to the country, I guess, is to go with experienced people.
Oh, definitely. We've done a lot of our European stuff by ourselves, and you miss out on things like today.
And these American roads, where we've been, all the states we've been, it's just been amazing.
It's been very well organised, great people to be with. Gay and Paul have done a really good job. Yeah, loving it.
It was a bit of a goal to do this, a bucket list. Yep. And I had a lot of friends wanting to do the trip, but couldn't make the time or effort. Or, there was reasons why, 5 or 6 of us. And I was on my own. I'm on my own on this trip, and a few people said, how can you go on your own? But coming here with heavy duty, I felt like I've got all my mates with me,
So when you get back, are you going to encourage your mates to come next year?
Yeah, I've already told Gay I think I might be bringing her up in the next few weeks when we get back and organising a few more.
The tour, what's your impressions?
Yeah, unreal. Anyone who can do it, do it. Just some of the places we've been, it's just fantastic, yeah.
We do things that no other tour does in terms of service to the people. We've had people that have been on other tours and they go, man, I wish I'd known about this before.
I think we're a bit spoiled. Now I don't know what I'm going to do when we're back in Australia, where we're going to ride, I'll tell you.
I mean, Sturgis is the destination, but the journey to and from, I know it's an old cliche, but the journey is what it's all about.
So would you recommend Aussies who've never been here make the trip?
Yes, if you have a bucket list, don't even put it on your bucket list. Do it before anything else, because life is too short. You don't know what's around the corner. We've had people that have come on and that has been their final ride.
To us, this is a trip of a lifetime, and I'd recommend this to anyone.
Yeah.
Anyone that's a motorbike enthusiast, Australia, New Zealand, you've got to come over and do a tour like this. It is unbelievable.
Riding across America, especially in the scenic areas that we cover, is a blast. It's just so much fun. It's as much fun as you can have with your clothes on. And we hope to see a lot of you here next year having a blast with us. Join the tour. You'll always be glad you did.
Louis, Sturgis is an amazing place. I've never seen so many bikers in one place at one time.
It's one of the oldest, but not the oldest rally in the country, probably the second oldest. I've been personally myself coming here for 37 years. In one sense, I enjoy the growth of the rally, and at the same time, you know, I kind of miss the old hometown feeling of the rally, because it's gotten pretty commercial. Christian Unity started out as we developed a patch as a Michelangelo, a hand of God touching man. We just started to go around and get Christian groups to come together and talk and just fellowship. Because if you're wearing a Christian patch, your only purpose in the motorcycle culture is to serve the motorcycle community. Other than that, you have no real reason to wear a patch. This is not your world.
Yep.
Through that, we had each confederation pick up whoever they wanted in as Christians and start certifying the chaplains, make sure they had the right paperwork. We have first aid people, we have first responders, we have transport people, go out and pick up broke bikes that are broke down. And that really took off across the country. The 1% clubs really liked having the Christians do that because they knew they could count on them for doing that kind of stuff.
Well, I notice here today that there's a lot of mutual respect between 1% and Christian clubs just at the NCOM building.
Yeah, especially in this building. It's been that way for quite some time, you know, and it's all about relationships, you know. If you can't build relationships, you can't achieve anything, you know, and it's that way throughout the world with anything you do. So.
Do you find that the God stuff just comes up in relationships?
Lots of times. We have 1%ers come up to us and say, can you put my granddaughter on a prayer list, or can you pray for me for this? They know we're the real deal, so they're not hesitant on asking for prayer.
Christian motorcycling in general is accepted in the American motorcycle culture?
Yes.
And nicknames are a funny thing. Sometimes your mates give them to you because they love you. Other times people pick them because they're controversial. Well, we've found a bloke over here in Perth who likes to go by the name of Maggot. Tell us how you got your name.
Well, I got the name Maggot because I'm a stand-up comedian, and I've been doing stand-up on and off for about 15 or 20 years. And a few years ago, I went on a cruise ship. I wanted to develop a character, an alter ego for the comedy competition on the cruise ship. And some of my friends in the past have called me Maggot because it's my favourite pastime, getting maggoted. I remember just recently I went on this bender and I woke up next to this fat chick who was farting and snoring, and I gently just looked over to have a bit of a look, and you don't know my relief when I realised I got home okay.
Your wife will probably be watching this show, I need to warn you.
That's okay. She doesn't come and watch my comedy. She likes comedy when I'm not doing it as Maggot, because obviously being a biker comedian, I can get away with a lot, and that's okay. I mean, it's probably a good outlet that I can just get away with stuff that I normally wouldn't get away with just doing normal comedy.
So what's been the general public reaction to this style of humour, mate?
It's really well received, and I think because of how much is in the newspapers and the TV about bikies and bikers or motorcycle enthusiasts, I think, you know, I get up there and I talk about the cops and all sorts of things that in a really crass way that I can get away with. I write all my own material, and it's been really well received.
Speaking of well received, it's interesting you say that you kind of take the mickey out of the police. I guess that's pretty much a universal theme of Aussie humour, isn't it, making fun of them?
Oh, I think, yeah, they're just an easy target. I mean, I think they just sometimes take things just a bit too seriously. The true motorcycle enthusiast we're normal people. We do normal jobs. You know, I have a job outside of doing stand-up. Stand-up's a hobby for me. You know, I have a really serious job as a paramedic, and a lot of the people that I ride with here at the Hog, we're all people in our 50s that have got careers and families and grandchildren, and we just do it for the love of riding motorbikes.
Lloyd, how long have you been riding motorbikes?
Going on 10 years now. My old man's always rode motorbikes, so ever since I could remember, he'd always have various bikes going through our garage. I inadvertently said that I wanted to start riding, to which he said, nah, it's too dangerous, to which I said, nah, I'm going to get a bike. So he goes, all right, well, you can come out with me.
So tell us what you ride.
At the moment, I've got a GSXR 750 and a Husqvarna XC 150, which is a two-stroke. Mainly at the moment, I'm just on the track or out in the dirt. But if I ever want to go for a putt, I can use Dad's multi, so he's pretty good about it.
So what's it like riding a Ducati around the city?
It's too many 40-kilometre zones, but other than that, it's this is a nice touring bike, so it's okay.
So what's your favourite rides in Victoria?
Great Alpine Range. If we go on the dirt, I like Mount Disappointment.
Yeah, that's interesting that you ride. I understand Morris Blackburn has a few of its staff that do that. So do you think that's a real advantage with this sort of operation?
Well, part of the reason, when I was thinking about what law I wanted to go into, I thought it had to be relative to what I was actually interested in outside of just studying. So particularly at Morris Blackburn, who's a really big proponent for motorcyclists generally, that really resonated with me, and I think because of that, the road accidents just drew me in. So if you can look after a group of people that you're associated with, you kind of feel like you're doing a double benefit, and that you get to go to work, love your job, but then help people that you're affiliated with as well. So it's really good.
Riding out of Cody towards Gillette into the prairie gives you the impression that all that lies ahead is flatland and farms. It isn't long before you realise that ahead lies the famous Bighorn Mountains. They rise out of the plains without warning and provide avid riders with one of the most glorious rides that you could imagine, through canyons and sweeping corners up onto a plateau that seemingly goes on forever. What did you think about the Bighorn Mountain and the ride through there?
No, that's fantastic. It's actually the first time we've done that ride. 10 sleeps, and you go up through the canyon, across the top of the mountains, and it's just absolutely beautiful.
But every mountain pass that you do, there are no switchbacks, hard switchbacks. The switchbacks are really cambered beautifully, so that you don't, get out on the wrong side of the road.
You've been in America too long. You mean hairpins?
Yeah, well, yeah.
You can tell when they've become Americanised, yeah.
And I do. The minute I get off the aeroplane, my vocabulary, everything changes.
The trouble is, you have to use their terminology, or they don't know what you're talking about.
Riding down the other side is just as spectacular, even if you get stuck behind a hay truck. Back on the plains, it isn't long before you hit the western town of Sheridan with its strong cowboy influence. The Bighorn Mountains, have you ridden through that?
Yep. Yeah, on the way here, yeah.
Just amazed me, the scenery coming up and the tightness of the corners, and then at the plateau, and then the other side going down. It's just an amazing section of road, I thought.
I think you could come to this country and ride around for 3 or 4 years, and then you still meet people who tell you about roads you hadn't seen. And honestly, everyone that's ever come on our tours has said they couldn't appreciate it till they got here. They'd seen films, seen documentaries, seen movies, heard stories, but they had to be here to really be gobsmacked.
What a corker of a show.
Mate, that was so much fun.
I know, it was a great show. And you know what? We'll do it again next week. If you want to check us out, temporaryaustralians.com.au. Until then, shiny side up.
See ya.